Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, concerts that made us, interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down. The greatest live shows and that cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concertsthatmadeus.com.
Hi, my name is Carla Franco, and you are listening to me on Concerts That Made Us.
I've been trying to tell you, mother, when you wake up and have time, don't bother. I'm headed for the unknown. You can keep all of your money, all your hurtful things no longer faze me. I'm gonna make it on my own. And you know when he hit me, you said you'd be better. And every time he left me, you said you'd be nearer. And every time they blamed me, you said that you'd never. You say fuck the girls that hurt me, but mama, you ain't any better. If only you could hold me, but it's never been that way since we began. If only you could know me, but if you did, then I'd be dead. I can't let you close to me without feeling the sting of your hands. It's only anger when you see me, so I don't expect you to understand, mama. And you know when he hit me, you said you'd be better. And every time he left me, you said you'd be nearer. And every time they blamed me, you said that you'd never. You say fuck the girls that hurt me, but mama, you ain't any better. You say fuck the girls that hurt me, but mama, you ain't any better.
Carla, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you now. I'm looking forward to diving into your music over the next bit. So the third and final release of your sophomore album, Layers, dropped back in September. Can you take us a bit deeper into it?
Yeah, so Layers is an album that I actually dropped in 3 parts, hence Layers. So if you look at the album now, it's all one project, but we had originally released 3 songs, and then the second release was another 3 songs, and then we released the remainder of the album. And that was very much intentionally so. It kind of takes you through the journey of where my genre and my writing journey started through to sort of the kind of artist that I can be. And I'm not a one genre kind of artist. So it does make it a little bit difficult in terms of like the commercial industry. But I as a songwriter, I write throughout the genres. So as an artist, it makes sense to me that that reflects in my work. So the first layer was sort of my roots, which are super indie. I mean, I grew up listening to really, really sort of old school jazz music. So I've always been a fan of strings, whether it's the bass, whether it's your violin, whether it's your cheeky little sort of drum beat. And then that, I think, led me into my love of folk music. And so layer 1 is really, I would say, the most authentic layer in terms of me as a songwriter, and like that raw emotion. Layer 2 is songs like Symbol, Soldier, something that I taught you. And that really gives you insight into, oh, so she can go there. It's kind of Joan Jett, Cranberries. That is very indicative of what you're going to get from me in my live show. It's a lot of sort of rock influence, and I have a degree in theatre. So I really like to think that when it comes to gigs, you have to perform. Your audience needs to get something more from your show than they would from your studio recorded album. And if you're not doing that, I think you're not doing it right. So layer 2 is really sort of that sort of cheeky, sassy side of me. And then the last layer is what I like to say, the part of my album that I really pushed myself to go pop. I think people think pop is super easy to do and super easy to write. And for someone who loves those super sad ballads like, oh my word, Carla, are you okay? Do we need to send someone to help you? You know, that is my forte. Like the really deep sort of raw thing is what I do best. So pop for me is a challenge. And it was important for me to sort of better my craft and up my skills. And the last part of my album is very much a kind of middle finger to the industry that said I can't do pop. And it's kind of easing into showing people that I can also have fun with my music. And I think I was just scared to have fun with my music because it was important for me to establish myself as a songwriter before an artist. So yeah, that's layers.
Right. The final part of it actually kind of highlights the local scene as well. You had a lot of collaborations on it, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, so layers, another thing I feel strongly about is just how much talent we have in South Africa. Sometimes I kind of just look at myself and I'm like, what are you doing? You know, babes, what are you doing? You know, but I'm in awe of the caliber and the diversity of talent that we have in our country. And I think South Africa is sort of becoming a country that's standing out more and more as we have artists like Black Coffee and as we have artists like Tyler and, you know, even those before them, you know, everybody knows Johnny Clegg and JC Clegg and, you know, Mango Groove. Like, there are a lot of artists from our country that are iconic. And I think when you look at the new up-and-coming artists like Will Lindley, for example, there's so many artists in our country that are up and coming. But for layers, it was important for me to show people the artists that don't have the backing, that don't have the labels, that don't have the funds, but they've got the talent. And so, for example, an artist that I collabed with is Lungelo Moyo. He's a stunning, stunning artist from our country and a really good friend of mine. And we just have a lot of fun at like local gigs that I often see him at. And we often gig at the same places. And I just approached him one day and I was like, let's do a song together. Sugar is currently charting really well on the charts back home. And I did that with Locally. His real name is Henku, and he's actually the bassist in my band. And someone kind of told me, they're like, you know, you can sing, Carla, like he's a really good songwriter. And I was like, sir, why are you not telling me about this? And that's how that came together. And then Zebra is a local band that is a lot of fun. They are so chaotic. They are so messy, but they really encapsulate the energy of South African funk and South African groove and just the energy that is our country. So it was important for me to highlight that in my album beyond just my craft. And Layers for me was a project that I wanted everybody that has been part of my music journey from day one to be part of and all the people that I picked up along the way. So when it comes to the music, my band was involved with recording songs. I went to Bloemfontein and recorded with my first ever producer because I wanted him to be part of this process. I worked with Son Studios, which is where we rehearse for all our gigs. So it was really a project that I involved everyone in that I could possibly involve in. And I think that's why it's such a special project to me. So yeah, it was intentional and it's a really important one. And I think I'm obviously not Will Lindley and I'm not, you know, Black Coffee, but I think it's important to always carry the people that you believe in with you as well. So yeah, that would speak for all the collabs that I have on my album. It was very much wanting to incorporate as much of what we have to offer that people maybe don't know about as much as I could.
I like it. I like it. That's something I love actually, because before I kind of discovered the music scene in South Africa, I had no clue about it. And then once I start interviewing artists from South Africa, I was like, what the hell is going on here? Why doesn't more people know? It's like, I always say it's like Seattle in the 90s, that explosion back then, you know?
It is. And I think really a lot of it has to do with funding. I think a lot of artists are independent. It's so incredibly expensive to do what we do. And when you think of marketing, when you think of gigs, I think a lot of people think you just email an organization, you're like, oh my gosh, put me on your set list. And it doesn't work that way. You know, like when you're supported by a label, you've got that financial backing, it definitely does make that process a lot smoother. And I think there is where artists fall in the cracks. Myself included. Like, I think if I had that backing, we could definitely push it more. And my dream is to be able to take all those people like collab with me and say, come, like, let's go. We got this. We can make it happen. And that is very much the end goal for me. And I sincerely manifest it daily that that's something I'll be able to do, because it's more than just me. I don't want to be able to do what I do just for me. I want to be able to bring attention to the artists that are falling through the cracks, or that at least haven't gotten their big moment, because it's like locally, Lungelo, Marley Monster, Zebra, like Palachrome, he's actually my producer as well. Like all of these artists have so much potential. I just don't think the platform is an all-reaching one. And I think there's a lot of factors for that. So it makes sense to me that you found South African artists that you were just like, what? Where's this been? I think on a monthly basis that happens to me, where I'm just like, what? Where have you been? How don't I know about you? And I think that goes anywhere in the world. I just think South African artists have a different, we have a word in South Africa called gees, which is kind of like spirit. There's a different spirit in South African music. And if you listen to Layers, I really try and bring that sort of South African essence, especially if you look from like bygones onwards. I really sort of sneak those African elements throughout like the project. And there's a reason for that. I think we've got so much to offer, and I really hope that I hope people are at the point where they're just like, okay, whoa, South Africa, can you just relax? Like, we need Hollywood to shine, we need Europe to shine a bit, can you calm down? I really, really believe that it's going to come to that point where people are going to start going, we need to go to South Africa, because that's really where we need to be looking. And I hope I get to be part of that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, definitely. Back to the album, is there any specific tracks in particular that have special meaning to you or stick out to you?
Obviously, as a cliche, I'm gonna be like, all of them. Excuse me, but I think definitely Any Better. It's also the song that has done the best in terms of like streams and charting and radio. And that is really like on a personal level, just a beautiful moment in my career. Any Better is about my relationship with my parents. And I don't necessarily have the best relationship with my parents. I think circumstances made it that way. They did the best that they could, but you know, they're also only human and had a lot of challenges. And Any Better was a very raw, very difficult song to write and to record. And I held onto it for 5 years because I just didn't have the grit and the gut to put that out into the world, because I just felt as difficult as that part of my relationship with my parents were, they also did a really good job of raising us otherwise in terms of like opportunities and stuff. So it just felt like a real sort of slap in the face to my parents. It took a long time for me to be able to go, this is my craft. And I really think, I've always said, I want my music to make people feel things, and I want my music to be honest no matter what. So I kind of just looked myself in the mirror and went, okay, but if you're not going to put any better on this project, then you're not doing that. And so it's a really beautiful sort of moment to see that come full circle and have that be the song that did the best on the album. So definitely Any Better. That song is honestly one of the most personal songs I've ever released and potentially have ever written. So that would definitely be the song I think that means the most to me, just because of what it offered for me in terms of healing. And it just happens to be a bonus that people relate to that and have received it as well as they have. So yeah.
Right. You know, a massive project like that, it sounds like a huge undertaking. How do you follow it on? What do you do to kind of move on from it?
I always said that chapter 1 had to put me on the map, which was my first album. And then I said Layers had to announce me as an artist. I knew that it might have gotten lost in the mix. It's a like 13, 14 track album. You know, when you release such a big project, it's really easy for a lot of songs to get lost in that. And it was just, I always said that Layers has to be the album that says I've arrived. And so I put everything into Layers because I was like, even if this is not the album that sort of propels me and ricochets me into what ultimately will change my career and my life, I needed it to exist as a project where people would go, this is where she knew where she was going. This is where things started becoming clear. And I think I'm fully content with abandoning the idea of one genre and the freedom that has given me to write and the freedom that has given me to just go into studio and be like, yeah, this is a bop. I'm going to record this. I don't really care what people think. I'm just going to do it. And that's what it is. And I find the more I do that, the better my music is doing. So I think I've just found myself. I think I've come into myself and I'm feeling safer and more content to just do the music I want to do. And I think that reads for people who are listening to my music. So how to follow that up is I am going to follow it up in July and I'm going to be releasing singles. So I'm excited. I'm excited because come June, July, there's a new single coming out and I think I'm just having fun now. I have a lot less pressure on myself for things to become what I know I want my dream to be. I think I'm enjoying the process. So the next song is a lot of fun and we're going to be doing a music video for it and everything. So I'm following it up with continuing that recipe, doing music that feels fun, that feels real. And the next song is as pop as it gets without sort of ruining my style and what makes Carla Franco music. So I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised, I hope, because it's so out of par of like what I've done, but it's a fun one. And I think it's really going to like ring with people. It's been a while since I've been as excited because it does link to Layers and it does continue that journey. So I can't say it will be, I mean, it's obviously not the same caliber of a project as a single, but yeah, I think for now, I'm just going to do what I'm doing and just hope that I get my break. I think that's ultimately what it is. I think when you stay true to your craft and you have fun with what you're doing, that's enough for me. I know that sounds really sort of, but it's enough for me. I don't want to lose my passion for my craft in order to get the dream. That's just not an option for me. And I think I want an audience that understands that and relates to that. And if that is an audience that's only 20 people in a pub, I'm okay with that. If that is 20,000 people in a stadium, I would be very blessed and privileged to be able to do that. So either way, I think I'm just going to do what makes sense to me and hope and pray that the recipe works. That's kind of my approach to my music, just doing what feels right.
You couldn't have a better outlook than that when it comes to your own music, you know, it's great. And we better move on to some concert related questions. It is concerts that made us after all. So first off, as a concert goer, what concerts have made you?
I watched a show when I was still in high school and it was Lady Gaga. And I remember how much slack she was getting for coming to South Africa and political, religious sort of, this was like Bad Romance, paparazzi era of like Lady Gaga's career. And my mom had bought me tickets and she was like, you need to go visit your brother in Cape Town and then you can go watch Lady Gaga. And I was just like, is this my mom's way of acknowledging that I'm gay? I'm uncertain what this means. Thank you, I'm going to Cape Town. And I wasn't particularly ecstatic just because I was like, okay, like Lady Gaga, cool. Like I was like, cool, but it wasn't an artist I was severely passionate about. But that concert changed my life. Like watching her use that stage, the way that her props were built, the lighting, the dancers, the performers. I mean, I grew up with Britney Spears and Madonna and, you know, like my dad was listening to Queen and AC/DC and Led Zeppelin. Like if you look at Motley Crue, like that's what I grew up listening to. And then also jazz musicians. So it's like, I understood music as performance alongside music. So Lady Gaga for me encapsulated that, like really watching how she worked the stage and how she would with the audience, and the intimate moment really sparked something for me internally where I was like, oh, this is a show. This is also an intimate relationship with people who are paying money to come view your craft. Like, this is a community. And it was the first time in my career that, and as a person, that I was like, oh, music is a community. It's not just this thing that you watch for a few minutes. Like, it's something you build. It's something you perfect. It's really a craft and a skill. And you have to be able to work with people. You have to be able to work the audience. So that show really changed my life. And then another one was the Lumineers. I remember they started with they've got that song, I can't remember the title, but pack it up a suitcase, pack it up a baby bell. And the song, I just remember it went black in the whole stadium. Everything would just light out, and it would just boom, boom. And I was like, and the whole floor just shook. And I remember that being the moment where I was like, music can move people. And when I combined that to the performance element that I gained from Lady Gaga, that's when I think really sort of, that was the moment where I was like, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Like, I want this. I want to be able to do this for the rest of my life. I want people to stand in a stadium amongst hundreds of people, and I want them to stand next to one another, and we all know the words of the song, and we're all creating this community together. And for me, it's not like a self-preservation thing. It's that togetherness that music creates, and that I could be that performer on the stage with my band, but we are all sharing this together. And I think that's such a powerful, powerful, beautiful thing about music. And that is why live music will always, always, for me, be the most important music that we have. Not the stuff we put on Spotify, not the stuff we put on Apple. It's that experience, that feeling, that community, that real life, like, oh my God, like, we're feeling things. And music is still alive when you're in a concert venue and when you're watching music in a show, whether it's your friend at a bonfire with your guitar, like, that's performing. And so, yeah, I think that's what really like excites me. I love creating, but it's unreal, like, to be able to stand in that space and share moments like that with people. So, and then in my own career, I did a show, Malkfest, last year. It was the first gig, and anyone who gigs know, like, the audience might not know, but like, you know, when you give your guitarist a slight look where you're like, bruh, you messed that note up. That was not the chord for me. And then you look at your bassist and you miss one of those. You know, it happens. It's show business, right? But Malkfest was just one of those gigs where it takes time to get a band to gel. And that was the gig that we all just soared. It was like, there was no error. We were having so much fun. And it was like, I get so emotional when I think about it, because it wasn't necessarily the biggest gig of my career, but it was the biggest moment of my career, because everything I just described, I felt with my band and with the people we were performing for. And it was the first show that I created a set list that vocally challenged me. And it just went so well and so smooth sailing that it was almost like, this is what you work for. Like, it's coming together. So, yeah, I hope I answered your question the long way about.
You did. And, you know, for any listeners that haven't been lucky enough to catch one of your shows, give us the full experience. What can we expect?
So I don't shy away from my sad music in my shows and my gigs, but I also cater my shows for the audience, of course. I mean, there's going to be a different kind of performance in a really intimate bar setting with a 3-piece band, so like myself, my bassist, and my drummer, versus a massive stage with my full 5-piece band and performing. But energy. I think that is one word I would use to describe like my live shows. And I am a top tier comedian, if I say so myself. So I will embarrass myself for the sake of your entertainment. I will make deep-go comments in my set. I will tease my band and I will tease audience members. I really think live shows we cannot be lazy with them. We can't just be coming on stage and like playing a few chords on a guitar with a backtrack and call it a day. I'm a big believer that live shows have to be live music with live musicians, creating as close to your studio version as possible, but offering your audience something different in each of your songs so that they feel that they understand that that's your quality, but they're like, oh my God, but the live version, because that propels people to want to come watch you again. I think engagement with the audience is something I really, really prioritize in my life. That I want to talk to you. I want to have fun with you. I want to like understand who the people are that have paid money and taken time. Time is so valuable. You've taken time to sit here and listen to my music and listen to my band perform. Like, absolutely, I'm going to talk to you and build a relationship with you. So my shows are personal and they're fun and they're energetic and they're real. So if you want to cry a little, you want to dance a little, you want to have a little throwback nostalgia for a little Jet, Are You Going to Be My Girl cover, we've got it all. You know, like I really, really, I am chaotic. I'm a mess. I'm saddies. I'm baddies. I'm all over the show, and I don't have a genre, so that helps me in my set. So it really is a little bit of everything. I say to people, there will be a little bit of something for everyone in all of my shows. But it's important to me that they get more than just the music. I want people to walk away from my shows going, that chick was hilarious. She was a lot of fun. I really want to see her perform again. But I also want them to go, excuse my French, but like, holy shit, that was a really good set. Like, they really performed well. It's more than just your relationship, it's also quality. So yeah, I would like to think that that's what we offer as a team, and that's what we offer when we perform live. And I think it's important that people can see the band that we bring together and that it takes work. Like, you don't just arrive and play a few chords and sing songs. So I think that reflects in my gigs, and I guarantee a giggle, I guarantee energy, and I guarantee tears. That's my thing.
Right. Sounds like one hell of a show. It sounds like, it'd be hard to top, you know? You definitely would come back for more.
I love it. There's nothing that makes me feel more alive than performing. And it's important for me that people who come and watch feel that and radiate in that, because we all need a little bit of fun and we all need a little bit of an escape. So I think it's important for me that whether you're listening to me for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour or two, that whole entire experience offers you that. Otherwise, I'm just wasting your time.
Yeah. Is there, I know you spoke about the concert a few minutes ago. That was so good. Is there one, would you say that was probably the best, or is there another one you can think of that is kind of like a highlight?
Oh, you've got me thinking now. I know that there's artists that I want to see live that will make me feel that way. Like Cat Burns, I would absolutely grovel at her feet just to see her live. I'm obsessed with her music. She's also autistic, and I think I resonate with her a lot as an artist, as a songwriter. LP, I think that's a given. Oh my word, I would pay an insane amount of money to see her live. But none of them are coming to South Africa, so I think honestly, Karen Zoid, there was a show I watched her perform. She's a local artist. I watched her perform a show, Lentedag, like a couple of years ago, and I actually opened up for her like last year sometime, which was insane. Like, what is that even? And I remember just watching her musicality, like her skill as a musician, not just a songwriter and a performer. And that, I think, seeing our country come together and singing their songs at the top of their lungs was a moment where I was like, maybe I can do this. Like, this is a female rock artist that has completely taken over the music scene for years, and she's a legend in our country. So I think I can't say that there's one concert. I think every concert I've watched has taught me something, has given me something, and has made me feel something. I recently went to a show in Camden in London for a band, and I can't for the life of me remember their name right now, but I remember standing in that venue and I was just like, how are people so talented? Like, how is there just so many different styles and songs? And it's such a difficult question for me to answer, because I love going to concerts, and any excuse I have to go watch live music, I'll go watch it. So it's difficult. That's a very difficult question for me to answer, because I think all of them offered me something different. But if I have to really nail down the most memorable show I've ever been to, it would probably be the Lumineers and Rainbow Kid and Surprise. I had a lot of fun watching them live. I was like, yeah. So, I think there's just a lot of artists I still want to see. And I'm very focused on seeing the artists that I want to see. So I think that's where my brain is losing being able to answer the question properly. But yeah.
Right. And your own shows then. I love asking this. Is there a show that maybe everything went wrong, and how did you overcome it?
Oh my gosh. You know what? You've actually re-traumatized me a little bit.
I'm so sorry.
I actually tried to eliminate this gig from my mind because it was just, oh my Lord. So it was my first ever sort of like big show that we booked. It was my first full band performance. I'd never worked with a full band. Like, I'd never had to put a show together for like a full band, and I won't name the festival because I can't be doing that for legal purposes. But it was, so much went wrong. The in-ear pack battery died halfway through my set, and as an artist with a hearing impairment, not the fun moment. Then the bassist was off time, so it was like we had to just like make it work. And then our set list was attached to the keyboard, and for some reason the sound tech guy thought, let me take the keyboard off mid-set. And I was like, homie, my set list, homie. It was horrendous. Oh my word, it was horrendous. And we had to stop in the middle of the set so they could fix the sound thing. But now you're awkwardly looking at the audience, and like we had done our own rendition of Come Together by the Beatles, and that went really, really well. It was just, there were a few songs where things were just like messy because of like the sound and then the timing, and because I couldn't hear it, which is that gig haunts me still.
I'm not surprised.
But I think as an artist, you need those gigs. You need those gigs. Like you need all the mess ups. And I told myself, it can't get worse than this. Like that was pretty bad. So I don't think it can get worse than that. And then there was a gig that I hosted in my hometown last year, and the generator, because in South Africa they don't give us electricity. I don't know if you've heard about that, but so we needed a generator because the electricity got cut, and now we need to rearrange this whole event. And then the one speaker blew, and we had to deal with the sound tech, and the event was delayed by like an hour. And by the time we started, it was and then I tripped on stage. Ma'am, listen, this industry is not as glamorous as people think it is. But I make sure that like I remember those super cringe, difficult moments, because it brings you closer with your band. You know what I mean? Like you as a team start going, right, that didn't work. We've got to change that up. What happens when that happens again? And we started actually rehearsing without in-ear packs, without this, without that, so that we could be better equipped should that happen again. There's so many times where like my opening song to my set is the most important because it's super theatrical, and then the drummers in-ears aren't working, and now we're just awkwardly playing a beat until we can start. I think every artist can relate to this in some way or shape or form. So yeah, there are a few horrible moments, but we live, we learn, and I'm very grateful for them because it makes the good ones all the more memorable and all the more sweet. And you got to mess up sometimes to get it right. It's just like how it goes. So yeah.
True. Right, before we dive into the last couple of questions then, future plans. We've heard about the single that's coming out. Is there anything else you can share with us?
So the new single is also going to have a really, really fun music video. That's the first time in my career that I'm really like opting to do the music videos. So yeah, I think it's a song that's very fun. And should it do well, there's already 3 other singles ready to be recorded and ready to be rolled out. And I'm currently also writing what could become the next full album. So, I mean, look, I think a lot of people think you release a project and then you just stick with that project. And then you just like, no, like you've got to be always creating and always doing more. There's a lot of pressure, I think, especially as an independent artist. Like if you're not creating content and not creating good music all of the time, there's no way you're going to kind of get to that next stepping stone. So that's inevitable. I will still be releasing more music, and yeah, I'm returning to socials on the 1st of June. And that's when we're going to start posting about that. So if there's anyone who wants to know what it is, I'm not going to name the song. I'm not going to tell anyone about the genre. I'm not going to say anything or anyone or nothing. There's a lot of fun content that's going to come with it on TikTok. I think this song, I'm really allowing people to see that sort of dorky, geeky side of me. It's a lot of fun. That's all I can say. I keep saying it's fun, but it is and it's annoyingly catchy. So yeah, I'm excited to release that because there's a lot that I want to do after that. So yeah, this is kind of a door I'm opening to a different side of me, and just always trying to just better my craft and also better my skills when it comes to pop writing. And I'm hoping I've hit the nail on the head with this one. I really have put a lot of work into it, and I think people are going to have a lot of fun with it. Yeah.
Right. Sounds very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing it when it comes out.
It's honestly just like one of those songs that, like when you don't want to move to a song, you kind of like Beyonce's song.
Yeah.
In Texas, woo, and then you kind of want to turn the radio off because you've heard it like a good 1,000 times, but you can't help it. And that's exactly what my next song's gonna do. Like, you might hate it after a few months of listening to it, hopefully not, but it's just a little jingle that's gonna get you dancing and get you singing. And I haven't done something like that in a while, so I'm looking forward to it. I really am, and I hope everyone enjoys it.
Right. We'll dive into the last couple. So these are a couple of random fun questions, but I'm intrigued to see your answer. First off, what are you currently obsessed with? It can be anything at all.
Sour sweet. It's a problem. Like sour gummies or like sour Skittles, just sour sweets. And I'm not a sweet tooth, so I don't know where this came from, but it's a problem. It's a problem.
Okay.
So I don't know. I found a newfound love for sour sweeties, and I'm just living my best life with them at the moment.
Okay, not too bad. Could be worse. Here's where the odd part comes in. If you had to spend 24 hours locked in a room with any musician from history, who would it be?
I can't nail that down to one. I really can't. Probably Miriam Makeba and Freddie Mercury. I think if I could be in a room with either of those, I would be. Yeah. I think. Yeah. I'm going to commit to that answer. I'm going to commit to it.
I like it. And the final one, what is your go-to album? What's an album you always revisit?
LP Lost on You. And at the moment, Noah Khan. I think Sixth Season is. I really think it's a genius album. And then another one is Plastic Hearts by Miley Cyrus. I don't know how she didn't get a Grammy nomination for that in the rock category. I'm still bitter about it. But we'll leave it at that.
Brilliant. Listen, Carla, thanks a million now. This has been so much fun.
Thank you. No, thank you, Brian. And thank you so much for your time, and good luck with your night shift.
You don't even know how much I gotta do attention. You don't even know what I've been saying to you. So tell me, is it me or the attention you like? You don't even know how much I gotta do to keep you from being on my mind at the time. You know that ain't too very kind. You know that ain't too very kind. Head rush, walk low. It must be something to keep me so. Head rush, walk low. It must be something to keep me so. Head rush, walk low. It must be something to keep me so. You don't even know what I've been saying to you, so tell me, is it me or the attention you like? You don't even know how much I gotta do to keep you from being on my mind at the time. You don't even know what I've been saying to you, so tell me, is it me or the attention you like? You don't even know how much I gotta do to keep you from being on my mind at the time. You know that ain't too very kind. You know that ain't too very kind. Sugar, ooh, ooh. Sugar, sugar, ooh. Sugar, sugar, ooh, ooh. Sugar, sugar, ooh. Sugar, sugar.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. And if you're interested in signing up the Band Builder Academy, use the link in the show notes below and enter the code CONCERTS and you'll receive 10% off. So, until next time, keep rocking.
Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show's over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here. Bye.